Hey guys, welcome to the channel. As you see in the thumbnail, what if Issei was Descendant of Olympians Part 1. Before I start, please do support for more awesome content and subscribe my channel and like this video, and also go support the SHADOWFLAME013 for writing that awesome fanfic. Let's start this video. The young boy was resting on a small island. It was the island of Delos. He was wearing a white shirt with blue shorts and matching sandals. His hair was a curly dirty blonde color, appearing slightly wavy. It was tied by a hair tie, making it look like a ponytail. He had blue eyes, indicating he was Caucasian descent. His skin was a pale tan color. I wonder why I was brought here to the island of Delos. The boy said to himself. Little the boy knew, he was not what he appears to be. Sure, he looks human. However, he is something much more. Aristides, we're here to find someone. A woman said. I know, Mom. But why are we here on this island? Much of it is a historical site. The boy named Aristides said. Aristides was a young 8-year-old boy. He grew up with his mother, who never married a man. She always had a content smile on her face, which made him question her as to why she always smiled. Aristides, you're about to know as to why we came here. Follow the path that leads to the temple of the Delians. I cannot follow you, for you must discover this by yourself. His mother said. What do you mean, Mom? Aristides asked. Follow your heart and you will see. His mother replied. Aristides walked through the historical site carefully, avoiding the spiky plants near him. He came across a familiar temple now in ruins. The temple of the Delians I keep seeing in my dreams, only it was not like this, Aristides thought. The strange, nostalgic sensation got his attention. He couldn't understand why, but Aristides felt as though he was physically there, despite coming to Delos for the first time. Why am I feeling this sensation? Does this island have something familiar to me? He thought. You have come. A soothing male voice called out. Aristides looked around, startled by the sudden voice. He then saw a beam of sunlight shine down near him. From the light, a man appeared. He was wearing a white tunic with old-fashioned sandals. The man's hair was a golden color, appearing curly. Aristides noted the items he held. It was a gold lyre on his right hand, but on his back, a quiver of arrows with a bow was apparent. Aristides held his ground, feeling intimidated by the man's sudden appearance. The aura was heavy, but it felt warm and calm, like the rays of the sun. Who are you? He asked. The man chuckled, seeing the boy looking intimidated by his presence. He took a knee to look at the young boy in front of him. You can relax, young one. I see that your mother has raised you with care. The man said with a smile. Aristides was surprised that the man suddenly mentioned his mother. How do you know who my mother is? He questioned. Silly Aristides, who does know your mother better than your father? The man said. Aristides was shocked that the man inadvertently revealed he was his father. More questions began to pile up in his mind. Calm yourself. I know that you have many questions in your mind, but I will introduce myself. I am Apollo. The man named Apollo said. Apollo, the Olympian god of music, light, poetry, medicine and knowledge, Aristides asked in shock. Also of archery, the sun and art. Apollo finished. Aristides lost his footing and fell on the ground, unable to comprehend what he heard. The sudden surprise of encountering a mythological figure in Greece was too much for him. Let's take this slowly, for we have a lot to catch up. Apollo said, holding Aristides. Where are you taking me? Aristides asked. To meet with the other gods. Apollo said. Aristides was brought to the mythological realm of the Olympian gods. The peak of Mount Olympus. There, he was greeted by seeing the other Olympian gods around his site. In front of him, Hestia was tending the flames of Olympus. Hestia had a green robe, which concealed much of her form, save for her head. Her face was angelic, having pale skin. Her hair was brown in color, appearing straight with curls. Oh, we have a guest of Olympus. Pleased to meet you, young one. I'm Hestia, goddess of hearth. Hestia said. Whoa, Aristides said, speechless. Apollo, my boy. I'm glad to see that you are meeting your son for the first time, albeit early. A familiar voice said. Apollo and Aristides looked at where the voice came from. It was Zeus, who was wearing a bright white tunic. In appearance, the god appeared human, albeit more muscular than an Olympic athlete. He was holding a handful of lightning bolts in his hand. His hair was ivory in appearance, including his beard. His eyes were a soft sky blue color. Like Apollo, his hair was curly, but wavy. I know, father. I wanted my son to stay with the humans till his mother was prepared to bring him here. Apollo said. Still, out of all the women you could have sired, you met with one from the east. I guess I won't ask about it, since we all have someone we like. Zeus said. Aristides hid behind Apollo, feeling intimidated by Zeus's presence. Although he looked intimidating, the king of the gods in Greece was a jovial man. Don't be frightened, my son. This is my father, also your grandfather. Apollo said. I know, but I'm still in shock when I realize that from my father's side, I'm related to the Olympian gods of Greece. Aristide said. Aren't we someone looking for answers? Zeus teased. He then went up close to Aristides, who remained quiet. The young boy was shy, unable to say anything. Nearby, Hestia noted how tense the boy looked. Calm yourself, Zeus. The young boy looks distressful. Hestia said. Sorry, Hestia. I can't hold my excitement to see one of my children have their own child. Zeus replied. You're certainly excited for your grandchild, Zeus. A female voice said. Aristides blushed up a storm upon laying his eyes on the goddess in front of him. She was Aphrodite, goddess of love and beauty. She was wearing an amber tunic that accented her figure. Her already godly appearance was accented by an amber necklace. Her eyes were a soft brown color, but her hair was straight in a bright blonde color. Aw, he's very shy. Aphrodite cooked. Apollo and Zeus chuckled in seeing Aristides being shy near Aphrodite. Ahaha, every god and man could not handle Aphrodite's beauty that easily. One gaze is all it takes, and they become entranced by her appearance alone. Not even I have the willpower to resist her. Zeus said. Zeus. You dare cheat on me in my presence, a female voice called out. The voice belonged to Hera, goddess of marriage and wife of Zeus. Her clothing was an ivory tunic with a gold necklace. Her hair was a light brown color, almost appearing red. The goddess's eyes were a soft green color, similar to grass. A male peacock was seen near her. Sorry, Hera. I was talking with one of my grandchildren. Zeus said. Hera had a look at Aristides. She couldn't resist cooing to the young child, who was shy of the people around him. Oh, aren't you the cutest child I've seen? I can accept that you're the son of Apollo, so don't feel scared of me. Also, forgive me of my husband, Zeus. He's very unfaithful to me. Hera said, emphasizing her speech. I don't want to be rude, but I think Grandpa should stay with you. Aristide said shyly. Hera smiled brightly, already taking a deep liking to the young child. Zeus comically sulked, not liking how his grandson was taking Hera's side. He's certainly well-mannered. A female voice said. The voice belonged to Athena, the Greek goddess of wisdom. Her appearance was equally beautiful as Hera. She had a Thracian helmet that was worn loosely above her forehead. She had a sword on her back with a scabbard. She had an ivory tunic that had gold accents on her shoulders. There was a gold band at her forehead with a light blue gem. Her hair was black as night. A surprising feature was her gray eyes. An owl was seen on her shoulder. Aristides looked at the goddess in front, feeling a welcoming sensation. Athena, goddess of wisdom, Aristide said, bowing to her. It's okay, young one. You have proper manners, despite being the son of Apollo. You're a demigod, Aristides. Athena said with a smile. It's still a surprise for me to know this. I never knew that I was the son of one of the 12 Olympian gods. Now here I am, talking with them. Aristide said, still trying to make sense of what he's encountering. Take it slowly. We can give you all the time you need to understand everything you need to answer your questions. Athena said with a pleasant smile. I always wondered as to why my father never came to me nor my mother. She always had a content smile, seeing the sunshine on her face. Now I know why, Aristide said. Apollo held his son close to help him overcome his confusion. In any case, you have spoken with Zeus, Hera, Hestia, Athena, Aphrodite and me. You have yet to meet the others. Apollo said. Where are the other 6? Aristides asked. Hephaestus is in his workshop, forging. Ares is gone off to fight in war. Poseidon is in the sea, ruling his kingdom. My sister, Artemis, is hunting with her fellow nymphs. Demeter is currently with her daughter, Persephone. Hermes will return shortly from his work. Apollo said. Aristides began thinking of meeting with Hephaestus. He decided to meet with the god. Father, can you take me to see Hephaestus? He asked. Sure, my son. Follow me. Apollo said. Apollo guided Aristides throughout Mount Olympus before finding Hephaestus's forge. Unknown to them, Aphrodite was following them. This is where he goes to forge. He's an expert when it comes to making accessories or weapons. Apollo said. They entered the forge to see Hephaestus designing a helmet. Hephaestus, my brother. How have you been doing? Apollo said to the blacksmith god. Hephaestus was a man with a rough skin tone due to centuries of forging. His hair was gray-white, but he looked like an average man in his mid-20s. His brown eyes were focused on the helmet he was designing. In appearance, he had a muscular physique and tanned skin. Despite his appearance, Hephaestus was a gentle giant. Aristides noted that his legs looked crippled. And forging as always. Who's the young man here? Hephaestus asked, seeing Aristides. I'm Aristides. I happen to be Apollo's son. Aristides said. The blacksmith god looked at the young boy before smiling. He was pleased to see a nephew come to see his family in Olympus. He noticed Aristides was looking at his injured legs. I'm sorry, but something is telling me to help heal you, Aristide said. Hephaestus and Apollo were surprised by what the young boy said. Aristides moved to Hephaestus and gently placed his hands on both of his legs. A divine light was being channeled from his hands that healed the blacksmith god's legs. This left Hephaestus deeply shocked, seeing the son of Apollo healing his legs. "Well, he certainly has acquired my knowledge in healing," Apollo said with a proud smile. Hephaestus decided to move around with his newly healed legs. Much to his surprise, they no longer caused pain when he started walking. "Thank you, Aristides. I could have asked Apollo to help heal my legs, but he said he couldn't. Now I feel like my old self," Hephaestus said. Aristides smiled, seeing the blacksmith god now acting cheerful. By then, a female figure came to the forge and noticed Apollo and his son. "Brother, it's good to see you," the female said. Aristides caught the word, thinking of the goddess's name. This is Artemis, he thought in surprise. Artemis was a young goddess. She had a bright yellow tunic, dark brown sandals, and a headwear with her symbol of the moon. On her back, she had a quiver of silver arrows and a bow of silver. Her blue eyes were calming to one sight, yet they held the fierceness of a hunter. The young goddess looked at Aristides with an indifferent expression. The young boy moved away from her sight, hiding behind Apollo. "Calm yourself, Aristides. This is my sister, Artemis," Apollo said to his son. Aristides didn't come out from hiding. He was nervous to meet Artemis's gaze. "It's fine, young one. I can see that you bear no ill will. I've heard from Athena and my brother about you. If anything, you were raised with respect, especially knowing how to act," Artemis said. I hope I didn't intrude on you. I came here because I wanted to see Hephaestus," Aristides said. Artemis smiled from the young boy's honesty. She could see that he was telling the truth despite his shy nature. "You can relax, Aristides. I came here to have my bow repaired from Hephaestus," Artemis reassured. Aristides bowed respectfully to the young goddess as she requested the blacksmith god to repair her bow. "We should be heading back to the throne room for now. Hephaestus tends to be focused when it comes to his specialty," Apollo said. Back in the Olympian throne, two new figures arrived. One was a man with a familiar trident. His hair was brown, appearing below shoulder length, and was brown. His eyes were sea green in color. He was wearing a sea blue tunic. Blue, intricate markings were shown on his skin. He had a muscular physique, but he was temperamental. Near the man, there was a younger male. He had a winged cap with a blue tunic and a scepter. His sandals had wings on them, which made him fly in the air. His tunic was a deep blue, and his eyes were brown that had a hint of mischievousness. His hair was an orange-red color. "Poseidon, Hermes. Glad to see you two came here to visit Olympus," Apollo said. "Glad to see you two as well, Apollo. I suppose you're taking a brief break in your duty with Helios," Poseidon said. "I'll say. He's been taking a break for today to honor his son," Hermes said. Poseidon and Hermes took notice of Aristides. The young boy was graced by a calming sensation from the sea god, as though a gentle current of water was washing him. "You must be Aristides. I'm glad to finally meet you, young man," Poseidon said. Aristides bowed respectfully to see the sea god, making him smile for his behavior. "He's really shy, but he does act respectfully. Maybe we should try to help get along with him," Hermes said, getting close to the boy. Aristides responded by moving away from Hermes before moving to Poseidon, which made the messenger of the gods pout playfully. "It seems he has a wise mind to not openly trust you of your trickery, Hermes." Poseidon laughed. "It's not my fault I carry an aura of a trickster. I was born like this," Hermes refuted. "More like, you acted on your trickery when you stole Apollo's cattle," Poseidon recalled. Hermes laughed nervously as Apollo kept his gaze from becoming upset. Internally, he was still angry with the mischievous god's actions years ago. "Setting that aside, I think the boy is ready to be trained. He hasn't met Ares nor Demeter yet. Since spring is here, Persephone should also come here as well," Hermes said, changing the subject. "Looks like you have a chance to meet the last two gods of Olympus. Be warned, Aristides Ares is not what one would expect. He may have the skin of a sheep, but he's a wolf in the disguise of a sheep. Many of us don't like him for obvious reasons," Apollo said. Aristides nodded in response. He stayed close to his father as they prepared for the last two gods to arrive. "They're here," Apollo said. Ares arrived, alongside Demeter with Persephone. Ares was a handsome man in appearance with fiery orange blonde hair. However, he had a visible scowl on his face, seeing Aristides. He was wearing ancient Greek armor with a Spartan shield and spear. His armor was soaked with blood due to a recent battle. His eyes were fiery red, and his skin was a light tan. Much of his body was laced with scars from previous fights. So the sun god decides to sire a woman from the east and has a child. "He's nothing but scum to me," Ares said nonchalantly. "Choose your next words carefully, god of war. I won't be merciful for showing such manner of speech to me," Apollo said. "You think that I fear you, Apollo? I relish in war, but your child is nothing of whom I can see potential for," Ares said. Aristides took an immediate dislike to Ares, frowning upon hearing belittle his mother. Unconsciously, he was channeling his godly powers in his body, creating an aura of light. "Try saying that in front of me," Aristides said, taunting Ares. "Such speech would get you killed, mortal. I could easily lop your head off if I wanted to," Ares said. Aristides stood his ground before delivering a haymaker to the god of war. Ares thought it was a simple punch, but what he didn't expect was the force behind it. He was sent flying till he hit a nearby wall, causing a visible dent. This caused the god of war to snarl in response. "So you inherited my father's strength. That makes it worth fighting you," Ares said, about to charge into Aristides. "What's going on here?" A loud voice echoed. It was Zeus, who heard the disturbance. Immediately, everyone stopped, seeing the king of the gods in their sight. "Forgive me, father. My son reacted when Ares insulted his mother. I didn't expect him to inherit your strength," Apollo said, apologizing. Zeus looked to the indent on the wall where Ares impacted. He gave a jovial laugh in response, surprising everyone. "Well, a chip off the old block. My grandson has inherited your strength, Apollo. I'll have a word with Ares to control his attitude, considering he was a rude host to your son," Zeus said. Zeus dragged Ares to scold him for his irresponsible behavior, much to the god of war's chagrin. "Ares never learns, he's a bloodthirsty person who relishes in combat," a female voice said. Aristides had looked to the owner of the voice. It was Demeter, goddess of agriculture. She had a bright green tunic, which glowed emerald in the sunlight. Her hair was a blonde color, similar to harvested grain. From Aristides' point of view, she had a calming, maternal aura. He noted that the air was rich with agriculture from her presence alone. Holding on her arms was a freshly harvested batch of grain. "Oh, I didn't expect to meet with our new guest. Who are you, young man?" Demeter asked. Aristides was shy in approaching the calm-hearted goddess. His cheeks turned rosy in response. "My name is Aristides, and I'm the son of Apollo." Aristides introduced himself. Demeter was surprised to hear about the young boy being the son of Apollo. She gave a soft smile to the young demigod. "You can relax, Aristides. I'm known as Demeter," the goddess said. "The goddess of agriculture. I like how you provided knowledge on farming to the people," Aristides said. Demeter giggled, seeing how respecting the young boy was. Near her, a young woman came into view. She was wearing a yellow tunic with floral designs. The young girl had the same blonde hair color from Demeter. Her eyes were a soft blue color, but they held sadness within. Aristides noticed this and felt concerned for her. "What's wrong, Persephone? Why do you have such a sad expression?" he asked. Persephone didn't say anything, but she was surprised by the young demigod sympathizing with her. "If you have read my fate in Greek mythology, then you understand," she said solemnly. Aristides went up close to the young goddess and gently touched her hand. Persephone felt a warm aura that made her heart soften. She closed her eyes, feeling the calming light from Aristides. "Thank you. What is your name, young man?" Persephone asked. "I'm Aristides. I wish I could help you alleviate your suffering from your forced marriage with Hades." Aristides. The young goddess was surprised that the demigod was trying to help alleviate her pain. She gave a somber smile before hugging the young boy. "Maybe, one day you could help me provide my freedom for me from this cursed fate," Persephone said. Aristides then noticed a small plant that sprouted near Persephone's feet. The goddess went down and plucked it. It was a white rose. "I'll wait till that time comes. I cannot bear to be the wife of a husband whom I'm forced to marry," Persephone said. Apollo was surprised that his son was willing to help Persephone break off the forced marriage from Hades. Zeus showed up, overhearing the conversation. "I'm afraid it's not that simple." Persephone ate the fruit of the dead during her stay in the underworld. "Each seed she eats, she will stay a month within the realm," Zeus said. But grandfather Hades was the one who kidnapped Persephone and forced her to marry. When she ate the pomegranate, Hades succeeded in his plot for making her the queen of the underworld. "You can see her pain and sadness as though it was clearly shown in front of you," Aristides explained. "Even so, he's my brother. I can't breach my treaty with him unless something can convince him otherwise to set Persephone free. Even though I'm the ruler of Olympus, my authority has its limits. Not even my wife Hera can talk Hades out from this," Zeus said. Aristides began to think carefully. He knew that each time Persephone ate the seeds of the pomegranate, she would spend a month within the underworld. He slowly realized a loophole to be found. However, it was only a short-term idea. "If Persephone has to stay 1 month for each seed she eats, why not let me provide offerings to her? It would help her avoid eating the seeds," Aristides suggested. Zeus was surprised at how the boy found a loophole. He smirked, knowing the demigod inherited his father's knowledge. "You have quite a smart mind. However, I must remind you that she remains as queen of the underworld. Only if she doesn't eat a single seed, she will be free from Hades." Zeus complied. "Plus, we may need to find someone who can replace Persephone. A forced marriage is not good for any being, gods or otherwise." Aristide said. You're right, however, I can't bring myself to betray my brother. One day, we will have to negotiate on Persephone's part so he'll understand. Zeus said. Persephone never felt hopeful during her existence. Thanks to Aristide's part, she now realized she has some freedom that can be granted for her. Thank you, son of Apollo. You have no idea how much this means to me. Persephone said with a soft smile. Apollo smirked, seeing how mature his son was. He felt proud of his compassion with Persephone, even suggesting making offerings for her to abate her hunger in the underworld. Your training will begin tomorrow morning, Aristides. I need to shape you up since there's more to the world than seeing the gods of Olympus. Apollo said. Wait, that also means there are deities as well? Aristides asked. Yes. There are other gods from different worlds that exist. You will meet the Japanese Shinto gods, where your mother was born. Apollo said. But what about my training? Aristides asked. Don't worry. We'll all train you for 2 years before you can head back to Japan. You will be sent to a region called Kyoto. From what I heard from Hermes, there have been some strange occurrences going on out there. Apollo informed his son. Alright. I'll await the day when the training starts. But what purpose is the training for? Aristides asked. You will be trained on combat, medicine and mastering your godly powers. I will help you with your training on your powers and medicine. For combat, Athena and Zeus will come and help provide tips for you. Apollo said. Aristides was excited to hear what Apollo said. By then, a familiar sound of horses echoed near them. It was the sun chariot, running in the sky. There was a man whose aura was so bright, no one couldn't see through it. It was Helios, the sun god. He had white, shiny hair, almost appearing pure white. He had a bright yellow tunic with sun designs. Apollo, it's time for you to take control of the chariot. Helios said. The sun god noticed Aristides near Apollo, who was fascinated by seeing him in person. Wow, it's an honor to meet the sun god of Olympus. Aristides said. Helios chuckled, seeing how the demigod admired him. Don't worry. Your father tends to the sun chariot around noon. Helios said. Aristides watched as his father rode the sun chariot off. His days of living as a normal human were now over, but in waking, a new life was found. The visage of someone moving was shown. It was the town of Kuo, only it was illuminated in red light. Sekai okuzusu piswa tatimo kuruku. Aristides was shown with a depressed frown. His image was in the background before distorting to reveal his blood-stained face. Ibi osugosu katasumi zudo hizenderu. The young girl with blonde hair and matching eyes was shown. She was shown with a depressed face. Her image was shown in the background, distorting to show tears. Sashidasareta Marohin I Itsuru no wa ima wa kanishij na kimi no mi. Aristides was shown with his sword equipped. The sun was shining on the horizon. It made his hair glow in a bright color. His face was anything but content. Lamora no wa tada hitatsu deiksu kimi sa. The girl noticed Aristides in the sunlight and went to him. The demigod's divine light was radiating in a calm tone. The young girl was embraced in the light. Bafuridasu amoi o hinata shakizai no yorimo ida shikuneru. Aristides was shown with his eyes closed. His heart was racing, but he had shed quiet tears, feeling the emotional pain long buried in his heart. The girl held on his back in response of seeing his arms shaking. Anafukai yami mo bakura o hitatsu nai musubu. The wave of darkness swallowed the couple up. They faced the opposition within it. Several devils were shown with an evil expression. Aristides clenched his fist, ready to fight them. The girl walked up to him, showing fox ears and 9 tails. A ring of fireballs was behind her. She wanted to join with Aristides in fighting them. Furuitate nido to Furamuku bakura sono asu no tame. Aristides held the girl's hand. She didn't hesitate and walked close to him. She hugged the demigod close, pressing her head in his chest. I believe Jayado de Kishimeta. Madami enu sono shinjitsu. The girl and Aristides held their hands. From them, the view suddenly extends to show a large shrine in Kyoto. 2 years have passed since Aristides was training in Olympus. The training was indeed harsh. Zeus and Athena made him wear weights which strengthened his body. It was also difficult in calling his innate ability to use his godly powers. A couple of times, the light destabilized, creating a small explosion. However, he pulled through. He absorbed the tips given to him by Athena and Zeus like he was a sponge and mastered his combat training at a rapid pace. Apollo fulfilled his part in teaching his son on medicine and using his powers. Aristides had a faint but noticeable buildup of muscles due to his training with the gods. His hair brightened after he made his first use of his godly powers. You have become a refined warrior, Aristides. I couldn't be more proud than I have been with you, my son. Apollo said. Aristides smiled from Apollo's speech. All of his training paid off from the gods. We should go meet with Zeus, since you'll be heading to the human world soon. Apollo said. Apollo and Aristides arrived where the other 11 gods of Olympus sat at. Zeus was proud to see his grandson become a refined warrior. I'm proud to see that my own son has raised you quite well. Athena's wisdom of us providing you tips in combat has indeed become a blessing for you, Aristides. Zeus said. It's an honor to hear that. Aristides said. I understand that you will be going back to the human world, Aristides. Before you go, there's someone who wishes to see you before you leave. Zeus said. Persephone was shown with a downhearted expression. Thanks to Aristides providing her offerings, he was able to provide her an early escape from the underworld, providing her more freedom. He still couldn't find a woman who can sway Hades away from Persephone. The god of the underworld knew of the young demigod's sympathy for Persephone. Thus, he decided to follow along and see if there was someone worthy of being his true wife. I'll miss you, Aristides. You have brought so much hope for me. She said in a sorrowful smile. I'll miss you too, Persephone. I'll continue to try and find someone who will be worthy of Hades. Chances may be slim, but I won't give up. Aristides said. Persephone hugged the young demigod, making him blush. Zeus and Apollo chuckled while Hera and Demeter giggled in response. Oh, aren't they cute? Aphrodite said. Persephone and Aristides blushed in response, but Persephone was happy she hugged him. The young demigod was like a small sun, radiating his energy in calm rays. I know I can't be with you since my mother is waiting for me in Japan. I need to head back home to her. Aristides said. I understand. Before you came, I too wished to be with my mother when I was taken. Now I have my wish fulfilled. Persephone sympathized. Aristides smiled in response. Zeus cleared his throat to catch his attention, though he smirked secretly underneath his beard. Well, my grandson. I'll respect your decision to meet with your mother. I've opened a Hyperion gate for you to cross over to the human world. It's located in Kyoto, where your mother is. Before you leave, let me provide you with this. Zeus said. He provided a small stone slab that had an omega symbol etched on it with a gold color. Aristides was curious about the slab given to him. This is a small Hyperion gate creator. Channel your godly powers onto the slab and you can teleport to Olympus. Be warned that only beings that are not human are allowed to cross over with you. A mere mortal cannot show his or her presence here, for it's a forbidden law that I have created to keep Olympus secret. Zeus said. I understand, grandfather. I will only allow those who are supernatural to come here with me. Aristides said. I also have some gifts for you, Aristides. Hephaestus said. Hephaestus provided a bow made out of silver on the edges with gold at the tangent of the bow. It was beautifully crafted in appearance. The blacksmith god also provided a ballpoint pen, much to Aristides' confusion. The ballpoint pen? I don't think this is an ordinary pen, he said. Hephaestus chuckled in response. Deciding to assist in the demigod's curiosity of the pen, he explained what to do. This pen is not what it looks like. To any mortal, it's a pen, but if you push the clip, you'll see. He said. Aristides pushed the pen, and it transformed into a Roman spatha. The blade was bronze in appearance, but the demigod knew this was no ordinary bronze. What kind of material is this sword made of? It looks like bronze, yet it is not, Aristides asked to Hephaestus. It's celestial copper. This metal is special, rivaling the legendary metal, adamantium. Hephaestus explained. Adamantium, that metal exists, Aristides asked in shock. Hephaestus chuckled when he heard of the young boy's surprise. Yes, it does exist in the northwest of Europe, where the Celtic gods reside. In any case, that sword will transform when you push the cap in. When I push it out, it returns to being a simple pen. Please bear in mind this, Aristides. Your weapons will be stored in a different dimension and will come to your hand when you use them too. Try summoning your bow once I take it away. Hephaestus explained. The blacksmith god took the bow and Aristides focused on retrieving it. The bow disappeared before reappearing in the demigod's hands. Hephaestus was pleased to see how the boy was able to understand quickly. Good. Now that you know you can summon them at hand, they will protect you in case of danger from the supernatural. They can affect humans, but they won't see the weapons appear directly. Keep them hidden unless it is necessary to fight back. The blacksmith god lectured. Aristides nodded in response. He thanked the Olympians for their hospitality, save for Ares, who scoffed in seeing the demigod. Before he used the Hyperion gate near him, Persephone held his right hand. What's wrong, Persephone? Aristides asked. She then gave a potted white rose to Aristides. A faint blush was shown on the young goddess's face. I want you to take care of this plant. It has a significant meaning to why I'm giving you this. Persephone said. Aristides accepted the gift as Persephone stepped back. I'll take care of the rose as though it was you beside me. Aristides responded. The young demigod walked through the Hyperion gate, vanishing from the chamber. Persephone watched for a few seconds, having a somber expression on her face. Aristides arrived in a small Japanese-style home. He immediately recognized the place upon laying sight of it. My mother's home back in Kyoto as well. He thought. He then ventured to the kitchen and noticed his mother cooking. Mother, I have returned. Aristides said. She turned to see her son, now 10 years old. She couldn't suppress her joy of seeing him after she heard from Apollo that he was training. "I missed you, Aristides," she said. "Forgive me for I haven't contacted you for 2 years. I wished there was a way, but my father was the one who could relay them. We have to catch up for those lost years," Aristides said. His mother smiled angelically. She took notice of a white rose that he held. "That's a nice rose, Aristides. Did you grow this?" his mother asked. "No, it was given to me from Persephone. She gave me this rose and I'm intending to take care of it." This made his mother smile in response, knowing that Demeter's daughter was smitten with him. "It's okay. She cares for you since you helped find the means to free her," his mother said. "Anyway, I'll be with you in a minute. I need to head outside because of some business," Aristides said. "What business are you planning to do?" his mother asked. "My grandfather tasked me to meet with someone here. It concerns something deep, but I can't thoroughly explain it," Aristides said. "I understand. I know the person whom you should speak with," his mother said. Aristides and his mother arrived at Fushimi-ku. They were on their way to the Fushimi Inari shrine. "Something tells me that this city is closely tied with the Japanese creatures in mythology. Only one can tell before seeing what one can presume," Aristides thought. They walked their way, passing through several torii gates arranged in a path. The walk lasted for 2 hours till they met with strangely masked male beings. "Who are you two? What's your purpose for coming here?" one of the beings questioned. "Settle down. I'm from the Miyamoto family who protect our leader from any would-be terrorists. This is also my son, who has inherited his birthright," Aristides' mother replied. The figures made an audible gasp and straightened their positions. "Forgive us for our rude behavior, Miyamoto-san. We have been getting cases of unusual activity around Kyoto. Yusaka will see you now," the person said. Aristides and his mother walked inside a large shrine. There, they saw a woman. She had a young appearance with a voluptuous figure and blonde hair with matching eyes. Aristides noticed a pair of ears and 9-tailed swing that matched her hair color. She was wearing a Maiko outfit. "Miyamoto-san, you requested to speak with me?" the lady said. "Yes, Yusaka-sama. My son was informed by the Greek gods of the strange occurrences. They haven't been subtle as of 2 years ago," Aristides' mother replied. "Indeed, may I ask what your son's name is?" the woman named Yusaka asked. "His name is Aristides, mine and Apollo's son. He was raised in secrecy in Japan for his first 8 years before training in Mount Olympus for 2 years with his family. His decision was to move here in Japan with me, but he keeps a close contact with the Greek gods," Aristides' mother explained. The woman had a close look at Aristides, lost in his blue eyes. This caused the demigod to look away, shy from the woman in front of him. Yusaka giggled, seeing how he acted cute to her eyes. "Don't feel threatened, young one. I can see that you inherited your mother's hair shape, but you have your father's hair color and eyes," Yusaka said. "You knew about the Greek gods?" Aristides asked. "Of course. I've been in contact with them since Apollo was with your mother. Plus, this solidifies a peace treaty with the Olympian faction of gods," Yusaka stated. "Wow, I never realized that Olympus began to develop close ties with Japan," Aristides said in surprise. Yusaka giggled, seeing how the young demigod's curiosity was apparent. Near her, there was a young girl at his age. Like Yusaka, she had blonde hair with fox ears and 9 tails. She was wearing a modified Maiko outfit. The sleeves of her haori feature a giant red star-shaped pentagram, surrounded by 5 smaller pentagrams in between the points. Aristides looked at the young girl curiously, tilting his head in response. "Aka-san, who are they?" the girl asked. "Kunu, this is Miyamoto Aya, a member of the Miyamoto family. They're the reason Kyoto and the Yaokai faction are at peace. The boy next to her is Miyamoto Aristides," Yusaka said to the girl. Kunu approached Aristides, looking at his eyes. Aristides stared back, but a small blush was evident on his face. Yusaka and Aya giggled, seeing the young kid showing signs of love. "Ara, your son has his father's charm. Kunu has someone she definitely likes," Yusaka said with a giggle. Aya also giggled, seeing the 2 kids blush red. They took off and went outside to sort their thoughts out. Outside the shrine, Aristides and Kunu were catching their breath from their recent sprinting. "How embarrassing," Aristides said, failing to hold his blushing back. Kunu looked at him for a few seconds before she held onto his right arm. She had a content expression, feeling his aura. "You feel so warm and comfy," Kunu said. Aristides had his face turn crimson due to Kunu complimenting him. This made the young girl giggle, seeing the young demigod looking embarrassed. "Don't worry. I'll be with you," Kunu said. By then, a sudden shower of rain came. The sky was slightly clear, indicating it was a sun shower. Aristides felt the raindrops trickle on his skin. The sensation to him was relaxing as he felt the drops touch him. Kunu, on the other hand, was blushing red. The sun showers have a special meaning to Kitsune Yakai. Aristides, oblivious of Kunu's thinking, looked at her with concern when he saw her face turn red. "Are you alright, Kunu? I hope it's not a fever," Aristides said, checking her forehead. Kunu remained blushing as Aristides checked her temperature via forehead. He stood for a few seconds before he let go. The young kitsune pouted when she felt his hand release from her forehead. She liked the aura being exuded from him. "What's wrong, Kunu?" Aristides asked. Kunu remained silent for a few seconds. Yusaka and Aya came by and noticed the kids in the middle of a sun shower. This made Yusaka look at her daughter with a gentle smile. "Ara, this is quite the development," she said. "How so?" Aya asked. In Japanese mythology, a sun shower has a special meaning to a kitsune yokai. Any human who encounters one during said rain is immediately betrothed by the kitsune. In a sense, a sunny rainstorm is equal to proposing marriage to the person they liked, Yusaka said. Aya giggled, seeing how Kunu and Aristides were interacting. She could tell the young kitsune yokai took a liking to her son. "I guess that means your daughter has someone she can be close to," Aya commented. Yusaka giggled in response. The two mothers watched as Aristides was tilting his head, concerned for Kunu as her face was still blushing. "Mom, what is wrong with Kunu? Her face is turning red," Aristides asked innocently. Aya giggled, seeing how innocent he looked. The young demigod kept his head tilted, giving him a cute appearance. Several days have passed. Kunu and Aristides began to show a close bond, much to their mother's approval. Right now, he was inside his home, watering the white rose Persephone gave him. "I wonder how Persephone is doing. I hope everything is okay for her," Aristides pondered. While he was lost in thought, a sudden explosion got his attention. He looked to where it was and noticed smoke rising off from where Yusaka resided. This immediately got him worried, knowing that his mother was with her. "Not good. My mother's with Yusaka right now. I have to make sure she's okay," Aristides thought. Uncertain on what to face, Aristides equipped his bow and arrows, along with his sword. He dashed to the temple, hoping no one was hurt. At the temple, 5 male beings with bat wings were fighting against Aya, who was protecting Kunu from them. She looked visibly exhausted. "What do you devils want with this child? You shouldn't be here," Aya snarled. "We want the child because of her powers. They will suit us well for our plans," one of the devils answered. "I'll never let you lay a hand on her. Begging from the place, or you will all perish," Aya said, holding a Japanese sutra tag. "A sutra charm that is indeed troubling, especially from No matter, I can take care of that," one of the devils said with confidence. Aya released the sutra tag, causing it to activate. It created a small barrier, surrounding both her and Kunu. "Oh? Acting as a shield to protect the daughter of the Yakai faction. Too bad that sutra doesn't have enough power to fight against my power," the second devil said, punching through the barrier. The barrier shattered, causing Aya to stumble. The first devil took the chance and fatally stabbed Aya in her abdomen. "Damn you," she said weakly. "Pathetic, your charms barely had any strength to ward us off," the third devil replied. Aristides was able to make it to the temple, only to witness his mother getting killed by the devil. Immediately, he fell into despair. The devils noticed Aristides when he collapsed on the ground. "Oh? Another child from Yusaka. This one is a demigod. Capture him so we can use him for our plans," the fourth devil replied. Aristides couldn't think properly. He then stood up, only his mind was numb. Deep inside, he was angry. The devils noted how he looked calm, but deathly silent. Before they could anticipate what would happen, Aristides' divine power was unleashed like a floodgate. The aura washed around the region, causing the 5 devils to stumble. Play Naruto Shippuden asked anger. "What condensed energy? Who is this boy?" the 5th devil asked. The 5th devil's answer came when Aristides looked at them with a cold expression. The look was so sharp, it literally froze the devils in place. "You dare bring your presence here to cause harm at my friend's place?" he asked in an icy tone. His blue eyes were like a glacier, shaking the souls of the 5 devils. They couldn't move, no matter how much effort. "Now you killed my mother. You will pay dearly for killing my mother and hurting the son of Apollo," Aristides yelled out. The young demigod rushed to the first devil, stabbing the heart with his celestial copper sword. The devil screamed in pain, before disintegrating in particles of light. The remaining 4 devils were now shocked by the sudden outcome. "What is with this kid? He just killed Bolt Gissen," the second devil said. Aristides then equipped his bow and aimed his arrow at the third devil. The arrow was laced with his demigod powers. He released the bowstring, sending the arrow. "Taste the power of light," Aristides coldly stated. The arrow pierced the devil's head, killing him instantly. He then dashed to the 4th one and impaled his heart in a rushing stab. The last 2 devils were now afraid of the wrath they had inadvertently created. "Spare us. We only came here because we were following orders," the second devil pleaded. "Spare you all? No, you have killed my mother and tried to take away Kunu. All of you will perish," Aristides said. He threw his sword at the second devil, who got stabbed on the head. His final target, the fifth devil, began to make a run for it. Aristide stretched his left hand before yelling. A beam of light was shot out of his palm, piercing the devil. The battle left him exhausted, causing him to fall to his knees. Kunu watched the whole ordeal and was now worried about Aristides. Engrossed ends here, Aristides, Kunu said. She then noticed he was shedding tears. This made her gasp, seeing her close friend consumed with despair. Yusaka arrived from the temple, only to see Aya dead on the floor with 5 nearby bloodstains. She saw Kunu trying to comfort Aristides, who was shedding tears. What happened here? Yusaka asked reluctantly. They killed my mother, those devils, they killed her, Aristide said in sadness. Yusaka couldn't take it and hugged the demigod. She felt bad for the young boy having witnessed his mother's death. The quiet sobs from Aristides were all evident to her. Aristides, I'm so sorry, I was brought in a meeting with the Shinto gods in a different plane of existence. I couldn't sense the devils at all. Yusaka said. Aristides looked at Yusaka with his tear-stained eyes. Upon seeing his blue eyes in such a state, she ends up shedding tears for him. A week has passed since the funeral for Aya. Many yokai attended the funeral in respect to the dot. Aristides didn't smile, nor showed any emotions. He looked like a zombie, numb in both the mind and soul. Yusaka and Kunu tried to talk with the boy, but he remained mute. Currently, the nine-tailed fox is with her daughter and Aristides in her temple home. Aka-san, is Miyamoto doing okay? Kunu asked Yusaka. Yusaka remained silent, looking at the young demigod. His expression was unreadable, looking like a doll. Tears were threatening to come from her eyes, but she shook her head to answer Kunu. He'll need some time to recover. What the devils did, it was an unforgivable act on their part. For now, we'll need to give him some space. He's suffering deeply. Yusaka said with a somber tone. Kunu felt worried for Aristides, keeping watch on him when she was near the demigod. The only thing he was doing was watering the white rose Persephone gave him. Other than that, he remained silent with little to no interactions to everyone he met. Miyamoto-kun, it's too much seeing you suffer like this. How will I know that you will be okay? Kunu asked herself in thought. In the temple, Yusaka was furious. She demanded a meeting with the devil faction. The yokai guards were surprised to see such fury from her. Contact the 4 Mayu and have them come here, now. The devil faction has already pulled enough strings to raise awareness in my domain. Now, I have a family friend who recently lost his mother because of them. She bellowed. The yokai quickly contacted the devil faction leaders, making the meeting. Yusaka was unable to control her anger, causing her to manifest flames around her and a halo behind her. They better hope that I don't snap at them. Seeing Aristide suffering like this brings great pain for me to even see a young child going through such a heavy ordeal. Yusaka thought, shedding quiet tears. Her yokai guards arrived to inform her of the devil faction leader's arrival. She wiped her face to clean off her tears and gave a sharp glare. The guards were intimidated, but they knew she wasn't looking at them. Have them come here. I wish to discuss it with them in private. How they land, sir, it will determine what I will do with them. Also, bring Aristides here. Yusaka said. By then, 2 figures came in. A man came who looked handsome and young, having the appearance of a man in his early 20s with shoulder-length crimson-red hair and blue-green eyes. He was wearing a black tuxedo. Near him, there was a woman wearing a blue and white French-maid outfit with long sleeves and a white-made headband over her head, with red lipstick as a cosmetic accessory. She was a beautiful woman appearing to be in her early 20s, with silver hair and matching eyes. Her hair, which flows all the way down to her back, features a long braid on each side with small blue bows at the ends, while the rest is let down, ending in twin braids. Both noticed the angry expression on Yusaka's face, along with a ring of fireballs behind her. You called us for a sudden meeting. What is the reason for this, Yusaka? The man asked. Choose your next words carefully, Surziches and Graphia. Due to an incident that happened near my temple, I'm already on a short fuse. Yusaka threatened. The man named Surziches started to feel a cold, encumbering feeling on his shoulders. It felt as though death was near him, waiting to take his life. The woman named Graphia also felt it as well, trying to stand her ground. So, what incident happened to make you have such hatred for me? Surziches asked. Funny you should ask. A group of 5 devils made an unauthorized visit here near my home. They attempted to kidnap my daughter. Yusaka said. Surziches widened his eyes in shock. He didn't expect what he was hearing. I did not authorize such actions to invade your home. I assure you that I wasn't the one who sent them. Surziches pleaded in defense. Tell that to a family friend who is now traumatized due to your actions. It doesn't help that he was born a demigod. Yusaka said. A demigod from which faction? Surziches questioned. That is not something I should say to you. You will find out the moment you see him. Yusaka growled. By then, the temple doors open. Aristides was with the yokai guards. His face didn't show any sign of emotions till he laid eyes on Grafia and Surzich's. Immediately, he showed an angered expression, raising his divine power. Grafia went into action, ready to defend Surzich's. "You devils! How dare you show your presence here?" Aristides bellowed. Isaka quickly went to Aristides, holding him down to stop his rage. "Settle down, Aristides. These are the leaders of the devil faction. I'm talking with them in regards to what happened a week ago," Yasaka said, trying to comfort the child. Aristides stopped channeling his divine power, but he kept a sharp glare at Surzich's and Grafia. The two devils now realized what Yasaka meant. "I see this boy had an encounter with devils. What does the incident a week ago had to do with you?" Surzich's asked. Aristides punched the floor on the temple in anger. This got everyone's attention, seeing the barely contained rage threatening to spill from the demigod. "What does it have to do with us? You're nothing but a fool. I saw your kind ready to kidnap Yasaka's daughter. My mother, who comes from a clan that helps Yasaka and the Yaokai faction, was there till you bastards killed her in cold blood," the demigod replied. Surzich's and Grafia were now shocked to realize that the incident had caused irreparable damage to relations for the Yaokai and devil factions. "Not only that, you have also threatened to incur the wrath of the Olympians. This boy, Aristides, is the son of Apollo," Yasaka said. This got the two devils worried, knowing their kind has made a grave mistake. "Where are the devils who orchestrated this?" Grafia asked. "Nothing for you to find. I killed them, mercilessly," Aristides said. "You?" Surzich's asked. "Just as they killed my mother, I took their lives in retaliation. I only knew one name, Boltgissen," Aristides said, keeping his glare at the devils. The two devils were unable to try and talk with Aristides. Due to 5 members of the devil faction creating a rift, Surzich's knew a war would start at any moment. "Don't forget another detail, Surzich's. I recalled that your kind nearly brought the race to near extinction due to one of your devils being killed by one. I heard the truth from one of them, who is now calling sanctuary in my realm. Very disturbing details to know. Whatever has instilled you with fear of it, you can blame your own faction for causing it," Yasaka threatened. Surzich's shook his head in shame, now having to face the growing tension of his faction. "Forgive me for not realizing this. My irresponsibility as a leader has caused so many problems to you and the Yaokai faction," Surzich's said, clearly ashamed. Isaka softened her glare, but Aristides didn't. "I didn't want to hear your apology, filthy devil. Because of your kind, who instilled me with such hate, I will never look at you or your faction the same way I look at Yasaka and the other factions. If anything, I would spit at your corpse than be around you," Aristides snarled. "Such a manner of speech, someone needs to be disciplined," Grafia said, moving to Aristides. "Take another step and I'll fry you with my divine light," he warned. Grafia wisely moved back, knowing he was following true to his threat. Aristides had his aura surging wildly, almost like a flame. "I will warn you of this, leader of the devil faction. Should any devil, regardless if they faithfully follow your rule or not, come to me with any ill intentions, I will kill them. Mark my words, for you have already opened a Pandora's box," Aristides said. "I wish I could apologize for what they have done. However, I won't stand idly and allow you to harm any devils that are following my rules. You will be dealing with me once you harm even one," Surzich's threatened. "I don't care. When that time comes, I will be ready to fight them all, including you," Aristides said, holding his ground. After minutes of serious discussions, the two devils left. Aristides' anger faded, but he kept a neutral gaze. Yasaka watched the young demigod as he left the temple. "Aristides, I hope whatever path you're taking won't cause innocent bloodshed," she said, shedding quiet tears. "Lay Gundam seed destiny ost kimi wa boku nai niteru, himi no sugata wa boku nai nidairu, shizuka nai niteru unai mu nai hibiku." Outside the temple, Aristides was sitting on the rooftop, overlooking the sunset. He was mourning his mother's death, unable to cope with it. "This is because of them. I'll never be living in peace because of them, those damn devils," he thought. "Nani mo shiranai hu ga shiawas to Yukito, oku ha kido manzoku shinai hazu dakara, itsuro no yoko to waru yoru demo, oku ga randa ima wo I kite sorde." Kunu noticed Aristides on the roof. She climbed her way up, feeling worried for him. "Aristides-kun, are you okay?" she asked. He then looked at Kunu, who gasped in seeing his tears. "Himi no he asa ha boku nai nidairu, hadom no kikanakunaru sor ga koakunat, boku ha itsu made ganbari ba I no, utari nar au araseru kodo ga dakiru." Kunu quickly hugged him, holding the demigod close. The warm aura he had was replaced with an overbearing sensation of grief. "Aristides-kun, you're not the only one in pain, I'm also in pain as well," she said tearfully. The young demigod held Kunu tightly. His breathing was shaking, indicating he had pent-up sadness for a whole week. "Baushide mo raku ja nai michi wo aranderu, sunanai mamarata kutsu wo hera kodo mo naku, anafu unai shika iranai, orat unazuite kareruderu kimi nara." Kunu, I'm sorry, but I have been consumed in my own sadness because of what happened. Those devils are to blame for what happened. I'll never forgive them for as long as I live. Aristide said. Nearby, Yasaka saw the two kids holding each other closely. She shed quiet tears, seeing the bittersweet moment. They will regret letting them come here, Yasaka thought. Himi nai boku kari akisoku shiyu, itsuka boku nai mukit hasha kuru toki ha. Himi no shisen wo hazasazu nai iyu, hido dare yori jazu nai yuketamario. The two kids watched as the sunset disappeared in the night sky. A silent tear suddenly came from Aristide's right eye. Kunu noticed it as the wind blew. I'll continue with the Miyamoto family practice in protecting you, Kunu. I don't want to see the same thing happen to you. He said. Kunu, moved by his words, held him close. They hugged each other, providing a warm sensation. Then, please stay alive for me. I don't want you to suffer so much. Kunu ordered. Himi no sugata wa boku nai nairu, anaji sekai wo materu kimi ga iru kododa, saigu nai kokoro nakusu kodo mo naku, boku wo suki do irureru, boku ha kimi nai ikasurateru, himi wa boku nai nateru ends here. Aristides gave a somber smile to the young kitsune. Thank you, Kunu. Thank you for helping me when I was lost. He said gratefully. The young kitsune held him close as he shed a lone tear from his left eye. The moonlight was shining on the young couple. From the moonlight, a tearful Artemis watched. Aristides, I will help protect you from them. The goddess said. Thanks for watching this video. Part 1 is over. If you really enjoy this video, like, subscribe, and comment down below, and turn on that bell notification. Don't forget to support the SHADOWFLAME013 for writing that awesome fanfic. See you in the next video. Goodbye.